Welcome everybody, this is Heroes and Brews with Nerdy Dudes. We are your friendly neighborhood Beeroes. My name is Ty. Across the internet is good old Kev, Mr. Uncle Coco himself. And today we want to go into a little topic that Kev and I were both passionate about before. We've spoken about on the show. We've discussed the Monsters universe, the Dark Universe, properly named. Before, we were excited to hear of it, but we were also, a little skeptical because of how they went full force announcing it. We weren't filming the time The Invisible Man came out, and we do want to talk about that. This is not a full-fledged review of The Invisible Man. We're going to touch it, but we're also going to talk about what we think could have made the Dark Universe more successful. So, Kev, I know, you enjoyed, the Dracula movie. I did not see it. I'm not even calling it the right name. What's the right name for it?
So Dracula Untold, which I believe came out about 6 years ago, at the time was Universal's way of starting a monsters shared universe. I enjoyed the film. Is it perfect? No, but I did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the way it ended, and the way that it ended, yes, hinted towards a potential universe set in modern day. And I guess when that movie wasn't received well critically and probably financially, they decided, okay, we're not going to start it with this. So then flash forward to 2016 or 17, whenever the Tom Cruise Mummy movie came out.
Very lackluster.
They're like, this is the one, guys. I can feel this is gonna be really good. And then it came out, and then it wasn't good. And then they decided to try to rush so much stuff, almost take a dare I say DC, Warner Brothers sort of influence on, let's try to rush this really quick. But there was no need to rush it because you weren't with a monster universe. You weren't competing with anything.
No.
So I really don't understand their thought process behind that. Anyways, that movie was kind of hot garbage.
Well said.
There was elements to that film that I enjoyed, but I think the bad outweighed the good in that movie, which I've actually been wanting to watch that again. I know, myself, I don't know, but I'm just kind of curious to look back, just to kind of change things up. And rewatch it again, and now knowing what kind of a film it is, The Mummy, watch it with having that understanding and seeing, it's probably still going to be a shit film.
Yeah.
But just to kind of look at it, already knowing what is to come. Sometimes I like doing that. I don't know why. I'm a nerd. But, so then obviously they were like, okay, well, this was a failure. That lost the studio so much money. So it seems as if they're on the road to potentially do that. But what they're doing, which I think is really smart, is with The Invisible Man that just came out last year. Was it last year or was it this year? It was this year, right?
I think it was.
No, it was 2020.
It was.
With this pandemic thing, I forget what year we're in and what day
it was right before the pandemic. And then I watched it on digital. On Amazon.
Yes, I did go to theaters to see it, and that's right. Then they had released it video on demand. Okay, now we're back in action. So with The Invisible Man, they decide to release the movie through Blumhouse, which is a very successful horror. They're mainly known for horror films, low
gory
budget
stuff, bloody.
That make a lot of money.
Explosions.
They make movies on small budgets. And then the profit these movies see is just insane. I mean, with their restrictions, like the Halloween film, and I think it was The Conjuring through Blumhouse.
I'm not sure. I never seen The Conjuring, so I don't know.
Whoa, you're missing out. You gotta check that out as soon as we're done this. So The Invisible Man comes out. It's smaller budget, does extremely
fantastic.
Well. But the good thing about that movie was they just focused on The Invisible Man and telling that story, and didn't focus on, okay, at some point we got to show a vampire or something. We got to show, I don't know, show a werewolf tooth or something like that.
Yeah.
You focus on the story that's being told, and that was the Invisible Man. And now we just hear that Ryan Gosling has been cast in a Wolfman movie. I don't know whether he's playing the Wolfman
Yeah.
or what, but I don't. And the thing is, I don't know if they're going to create a universe or if they're just going to kind of do solo films and just because that's working. You don't have to make a shared universe.
I think what would be cool, which they obviously rushed big time, the universe with the photoshopped picture that everyone laughed at. It
Yo, that
was
picture
obviously photoshopped.
the picture's so good. Do you see Russell Crowe? They must have his hand must have been resting on something,
Yeah.
but they just photoshopped that out, so he's just there with like a claw hand.
Claw hand, just
It's
chilling.
awesome.
He's got the snake. If you're a wrestling fan, Santino Marella had the snake that he attacked with. That's what it looked like.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's so fun, that picture.
But I think what they could have done better was with the Mummy. I think they were all over the place. I think they were trying to force too much with
yeah. Yes.
the Jekyll and Hyde reference and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think, like you said, focus on the solo film, but then do end credit scenes, one or two of them. That's what Marvel did. You don't want to force the universe that isn't there yet, and you don't even know if it's successful yet. And what I think the Invisible Man did very well was take a well-known monster, this entity that was this invisible, obviously again monster or creature we can say, and they turn it into a person who is very well scientist who created a suit that reflects light to make them invisible. And I thought that was cool because that takes a modern take. The person himself is a monster. He doesn't look like one, but you're confused the whole way. You're like, what is going on? Like, is he actually dead? Is this guy a ghost? And then it starts bringing in the elements of, okay, he's not dead. He set up his death. He's got this suit. He's got this laboratory. And I think a cool way to, end it, which, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it and you're going to watch it, I would stop listening real quick. They tease the Invisible Woman because she takes the suit, gets her revenge, and then goes on with her life to say, okay, now we got the Invisible Woman. And I'm curious about her path and what the path she's going to take with that suit. Is she going to use it? Is she just going to keep it secret, safe, set away from anyone else who could possibly use it for their own, danger, for their own, pleasure? So I think that's going to be cool to see if they do another movie and they do the Invisible Woman. I'm excited to see how her experience being stalked by the Invisible Man is going to affect her, and is she going to do it to people that were abusers? So she'll see people that are men that are abusing their girlfriends and say, hey, I'm going to torture this guy, being invisible, mess with them, and then ultimately kill them. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
That's kind of an interesting take. I didn't even think about that. For me, I really enjoyed the film. I don't know if me personally, if I really need a sequel. I think the story that was told was great, and I love the way it ended to the point where, then the viewer just kind of, comes up with their own story in their head. Oh my gosh, I wonder what happens. Now, of course, money talks, and the movie did really well, and if they can think of a great story to tell with her, having the suit now, then by all means tell it. And if it's a good story, then people will go and see it. So with your take on it, that kind of interests me because honestly, after I finished the film, I felt good, like I felt satisfied.
We spoke about that because when I remember you told me to watch it. And after I watched it, I talked to you about it, and you were set. It was a good movie. One off, you're done. That's all you need.
Correct. And it's so weird though. We talk about post-credit scenes and just focus on whatever your movie is. Let's focus on the story of that. I have to admit though, and I forget if I told you this or not, when I saw it in theaters, her friend who is the police officer, I wanted so bad at the end of this movie to, at the very end, their story's complete and the police officer gets some sort of radio call. He's called in because there's been, they found someone dead in the woods. It looks like some sort of animal had attacked this man. You know what I mean? Like something
Yeah.
like that, or some attack where there's someone bled out on the street. So whether they were to hint to like there's a werewolf or vampires exist in this world, I was like almost hoping for that, even though I know I'm kind of contradicting myself. But I think if they would have done something subtle like that, like you finish the story and then you have a little post credit scene, the guy gets ready in, and you hear there's been an animal attack, wherever the location is. It looks like a wolf attacked them, and then you end it.
Yeah.
Me, I don't know if anybody else, but me, I would have my head would have been like.
But I think that's the way to do it. I think too many of these, movies nowadays, whether it's DC or like the Dark Universe, they're trying to show the elements in the film. What Marvel did successful was when they made Iron Man, it was just Iron Man. And then, at the post-credit scenes, they hinted things. Same with Captain America. Same with Thor. They didn't shove the Avengers right in your face. It was all subtle at the end of the film. And people love that stuff. Everyone's waiting at the end of movies now to see post-credit scenes, especially with Marvel. They know they're going to sit their butts through the credits and possibly all the way at the end of the credits, because sometimes there's 2 scenes. And people enjoy that, because that's where you should throw in your subtle hints to how everything matches together. Now, I'm not saying that they need to, especially for the Dark Universe or the X-Dark Universe, but that's the way I would have went. If I'm them, I'm not telling a soul. I'm not, photoshopping that image. I'm making these films, casting them, and then putting hints at the end of each film to say, look, this is going to lead up to something. And not, do it as a surprise. People will enjoy that. Say in a tweet, make sure to sit through the credits. Yeah. Simple as that. So people know, okay, what's going on. And once you see that, that'll go viral. Once people start seeing it and say, oh, cool, look at this. This is what happened at the middle of the credits. And then everyone's like, shit, I got to stay for the middle of the credits of this movie. Because people like that. I loved it. Even with Deadpool, they had like, I think it was Deadpool, was it 1? That they had like stupid little end credit scenes that didn't matter. It was just funny little things they threw there.
Well, he had that scene where he came out of the shower, similar to like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the way that movie ended.
Yeah.
And came out and said, and we're trying to get cable for like the second one, or I forget, something like that. He had said.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I think like that's like cool and funny, and like obviously it's hinting towards cable, but it was just a funny thing that didn't really need to happen, but it did happen.
I think with the Dark Universe, man, the original Dark Universe, that was supposed to spin off from Tom Cruise's Mummy movie. I think at the time, obviously, the studio was just thinking about dollar signs.
Yes.
And I get it. It's a business, and you see that these shared universes, what Marvel's able to do was working, but what Marvel has done is very rare.
And really can't be replicated. Yeah, it's just hard to match up with them.
Absolutely, and we'll never see anything like what Marvel has done ever again.
No.
I shouldn't say that. Nothing is impossible, but I just think they saw dollar signs and they thought, shared universe. Those 2 words together seem to really, people are flocking to these kind of things. However, I think first and foremost, you got to tell a great story. And if you tell a great story and people go to see your film and they see that they visually see that you're telling a great story, and then buzz gets around, well, then you're going to see money. You got to tell a great story first.
Well, what did Iron Man do in the beginning? Like, I'm curious to know. I don't know the numbers. I'm curious to know what Iron Man did in its weekend release, or like its first weekend release. I don't know what it was, but I guarantee it wasn't as successful as all the rest of them. I guarantee it.
I can take a quick look and see, my friend.
Yeah, you can. Because, like, if you think about it, many people didn't really know who Iron Man was. In Marvel, Iron Man wasn't a huge character. Within normal reality, people who aren't big into comics, Iron Man was... Who? Who's that? Captain America, who's that? It's Spider-Man, it's Hulk. Those were, Wolverine, the X-Men. They were the big people, the big numbers, the big names. They had the animated Spider-Man series, the animated X-Men series, which when I was a very young child, I was all over, loved it. So, for Iron Man, you're taking a swing with that. and they told a very good story, and look where it's led us.
Yeah, absolutely. To answer your question real quick, side note, Iron Man looks like it made $100.8 million.
Okay.
North American theaters. So that's just within our country alone.
Yeah.
Opening weekend. Which, when you think about it, is not like it's a lot of money, and I'm sure a lot of films would kill for that. But I think what you have seen, like what Marvel has done over the
like
past
$1 billion,
years. So yeah, like when you hear that amount, but it was a start of what we know is a legendary universe, cinematic universe. But yeah, man, I think going the Blumhouse route with these Universal monster movies is the perfect way to go, because I don't think a lot of these monster movies need heavy CG.
No.
God, if you can make these movies on a $50 million budget and they're done well, I mean, you're telling a really great story, and I kind of like they're taking these classic monster stories and putting them in present day, because I think we've seen, we've seen them. They were a product of their time, and a lot of them took place back centuries ago. And if you want to view those, definitely check those out, because those classic movies are fantastic.
Yes,
like Frankenstein is one of my favorites out of all of them. But to bring it into present day, and if you can bring it into present day and do it well, and like I said, I know it sounds like common sense, but if you have a great script and you have a great story, I know making movies is very difficult. I mean, I've never made a movie, but I can imagine how difficult making a film really is, making a well-made film is.
Yes.
And if you can tell a really good story, trust me, in today's day and age with social media, if you have a great movie and you have a great story, it's going to circulate.
Everyone will know.
You're going to profit from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think sometimes they, with The Mummy, I don't know what the budget was for that film, 150 million plus, I don't know. But you know what? It doesn't, just because you put a lot of money into something we've seen doesn't mean it's great. Doesn't mean it's going to make money. We've seen movies that have very small budgets that do very well.
Look at Joker. They had the right story, the right casting. They made it the right way. It's all about putting all the elements in the correct formula. It's cooking.
Just tell a great story.
Yeah,
that's all. You'll see people come and you'll make your money.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to wrap it up. So, in the comments, let us know if you want the Dark Universe to resurge. Do you think Invisible Man was well received enough to revitalize it? Shock that heart pumping again, or do you want to see what's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I think so. I've heard rumors about a Dracula movie coming out.
Yeah.
Also, so yeah.
Do you want them combined? Do you want them, or do you just want one-offs? Let us know in those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. Cheers.